welcome to Dynamite Alot. Now before we get started, and I want to make this clear, this was a good show. It was a good show, but I'm not going to lie about something. I was hoping to see more Impact stars go to AEW. Now that has not happened yet. Now maybe it will eventually happen and there'll be more than just Luke and Carl showing up on AEW. I do believe eventually they will show more of them, particularly maybe when it comes to the Knockouts title, maybe when it comes to the X Division, they will hopefully show up eventually. If they don't, that's not going to look very good, particularly that even though Impact is getting a shine with Carl and Luke there, and the titles being there, unless they give a little bit more, it's not going to help a lot. But this is something that's still pretty early. And I'm hoping, like, when it comes to Kenny winning the title from Impact Wrestling, it will help the company in the long run. But this is just me, you guys tell me below. I'm not going to cover everything here, but I am going to give you my thoughts about what I am covering and what this really gives going into next week. Now, 8-man tag. Now, -1's birthday was being celebrated on this show today. Actually quite nice to see that when it comes to Brody Lee's son, they're still letting him have some type of interaction with the wrestlers. But I'm not going to lie about this. I'm hoping they don't keep this up for too long because, look, I don't think this is going to be bad for the kid. Getting exposed to the business like this, where he's being protected and only being put in certain things and making sure that this is something special is good. But I don't want to see him too much exposed to wrestling too soon. I'm really hoping that this is not too ongoing. Maybe for the next couple of months he will be showing up. But eventually you got to phase him out and let Dark Order be Dark Order. Now we got TH2 and the Chaos Project with Serpentico as well as Luther being the focus of this, because supposedly -1 on AEW Dark pretty much talked smack to Luther. Luther didn't like it. So that's what this match got started. It was a good match for what it was. It was not perfect, but it was okay. You got Hangman Page there, and he did kind of mess up his kip up at one point. When he was supposed to jump over the top ring rope, he did mess up his kip up a little bit, but it's very rare for him to mess up. But it really kind of messed up a little bit more than that. It didn't look too bad, but it didn't look too great. In the end, I wasn't surprised that Dark Order won here. But here's the thing that made it very interesting. Well, two things. One, -1 hits Luther with a kendo stick. And then badmouths him and say, "Who the hell do you think you are? And what do you think this is? This is my birthday. My birthday was 3 days ago." Started throwing papers at everybody. That was meant to be an homage to his dad. Nothing wrong with that. You can see them in my face. I believe I got the shot of him having the Dark Order hand like this. So if I didn't just show it, I'm showing it now. Here's the second one. Hangman Page is basically confronted by Silver saying, "Hey, this was a great match. You look great. You smell great. You are great. Join the Dark Order." Finally, someone plays the music saying he said yes and he says no. And pretty much Stu Grayson wasn't happy. Eva Uno wasn't happy. Ten wasn't happy. Nobody was happy. Anna Jade wasn't happy. So where are they going? That's the next question. Where are they going with Hangman Page? Where he said, "I've been in a group. It never ended well for me. I'm sorry." He grabbed a bottle of liquor from, I believe, Eva Uno and then walks away. I don't know where they're going with this. If you were going to have him join, this would have been the best general time to let him join. But if you got a long-term goal with him turning heel maybe, going after Kenny, this might be the time it's about to happen again. Him drinking, then something straighten himself out, and then he does something. I don't know. You guys tell me below. I don't know. Now, we got, we're gonna have a street fight, probably cinematic, with Team Taz and Darby Allin and Sting. Now, I know people talked about, well, I actually saw Sting talking on the, what is the show? Unscripted, with Tony and Alyssa. And I remember him talking about this when it came to WWE. He said he wanted to do something cinematic with WWE. They wouldn't do it. But here they're willing to do it. So this looks like it might be it. Now, was the segment good before this part about Taz talking and then Darby Allin talking and then Sting talking? It wasn't bad. Now, what do I mean by that? Once Sting started saying congratulations to Darby, that he is TNT champion, he congratulates him, and then you see Taz saying this is bullcrap. I got wrestlers here. You don't know what it's like to be on the streets, and Taz basically putting himself over a bit. It's understandable. Taz is one of the best talkers in the business. But I gotta say this. I kind of wish Taz had focused a little bit more on letting maybe Ricky Starks talk. Because Ricky really talked so briefly. And I know people don't like Ricky Starks. But I do believe that he has great potential if he's given more time to develop, particularly in talking. He's good as a talker. But with Taz, he could become a great talker. And now we get the street fight maybe either at on February 2nd, I believe. I don't believe it's next week. I believe it's February 2nd. So, we'll see. Let's see here. Let me say this. I really hope they show more people from Impact. Because seeing Don Kallus trying to pay off the Young Bucks so they're not going to be Kenny's friends anymore was hilariously stupid. But it was interesting. He's trying to keep Kenny in a bottle. That's what Don is trying to do. He's trying to keep Kenny in a bottle. He's trying to make sure Kenny has no influence but himself. The architect, the secret hand, or the basically the blind hand, if you want to make it clear, because he did get whacked in the face because Kenny saw him in the locker room, saw he got a shiner on one of his eyes and wondered what the hell happened, and then he told him reluctantly it was the Bucks. He is I keep saying this. Please let us see more Impact people. Don is good. Seeing Luke and Carl is good, but we need more. That's just me. Tell me below. Cody versus Pretty Pete Avalon. What? Pete Avalon is just a prop. I'm not against Pete. He's probably doing pretty good on Dark. I'm sure he is. Maybe. Who knows? But this was about Jade coming out. And she distracting. And here she's in my face. Damn, that woman is like... She reminds me of what Jazz looked like from Impact Wrestling when she was young, but more curvy. Let's put this in perspective. Jade Cargill is this, but and pretty much Jazz was. I'm not saying Jazz wasn't good looking, but the woman was like this, and Jade is like this. And there's a stark difference, but the muscles look the same. The woman is like a brick chicken house. She will break your neck. If you piss this woman off, she will break you. I would love to see her go up against one person. I would love to see her go up against, well, they're only doing right now Selena Deeps. And I would love her to go up against Camille. Those women are pretty much the same. I would love to see them. That's just me, you guys. Tell me below. FTR had their moment. And Jurassic Express had their moment. And now you're going to have Dax versus Jungle Boy either next week or on the beach special. I'm not sure. It's going to be interesting. It'll really be a stark contrast of a high flyer who's pretty impactful compared to an old school, very impactful wrestler. Moxley versus Corbett. I can't pronounce his name. The guy, I think I got a picture of him in my face. If not, you can just see the scene in full of my face. The guy is Cock Diesel. He goes to QT Marshall's training school, which is good to see. They are bringing people in if they seem capable. And it wasn't a bad match. Here is the match I feel was sloppy as hell. And this is Top Flight and Matt Scott. They're my face. Matt Sydal was a bit sloppy. Top Flight was one of, I think it was Damus. I can't remember which one of the brothers it was. When he jumped off the second turn rope to try and do a backflip. And he literally landed on his freaking head. Flat out. He didn't even land on the guy. He landed on his freaking head. This is where I know there's many people that love the high flying in the spots. There are points, guys. And I'm saying to anyone who likes the high flying. There are points where sometimes high flying is not worth it. Because sometimes being into spots and high flying will basically bite you in the ass. And that was one of them. He could have landed very badly. He could have jacked his neck. And he could have actually been paralyzed because of the way he landed. He could have landed literally straight here. And the rest of his body might not been in the right position. He's lucky it didn't end badly. And I think he landed on Quinn. Tried to land on Quinn. It just... Top Flight was sloppy. Matt Sydal was a bit sloppy. Seeing Money Matt put all three of them down through side effects was actually quite interesting. And they tried to sell this on commentary. Commentary tried to say Money Matt really is putting these kids over, making them mean something. And once you see it was all over, what did Private Party do? They basically whooped their asses, beat the crap out of them afterward. And now he raises his hands high. It's good to see. Particularly next week, they'll be going after the tag champions in Impact Wrestling. They got to look strong, and this looked good for them because pretty much they didn't botch as much. Now, I'm not saying Private Party doesn't botch. Quinn does still botch. Cassidy still botches. But at least it wasn't as bad as Top Flight and Sydal. They botched. Now, I know I didn't cover much when it came to Moxley and the other guy, but I do have to say this. When Moxley did talk about Kenny, and did talk a little bit about bringing people in from the outside, and talking a little bit about Impact, I'm kind of hoping he goes to Impact. That's just me. You guys tell me if you would like to see Moxley on Impact in the next couple of weeks or month. I think it would probably help the company. You guys tell me below. Hurst versus Penelope Forbes. I know not everyone thinks Hurst is really ready. But Hurst is, from my perspective, she is a shoot wrestler. She does more actual amateur wrestling than she does pro wrestling. And when you saw her against Forbes, it showed how she is more amateur still than she is pro wrestler. She has a long way to go. There's no lie about that. But in some cases, that's not a bad thing. And she's built like a brick chicken house, even though she's 4'11". My last girlfriend was 4'11". She was built just like her. Except her boobs were very, very, very... that's the best way to say it. But the match generally was not that bad. Forbes had a problem keeping up with Hurst because she did way more amateur wrestling than pro. It really looked like Hurst is here, Forbes is here, but when it came to telling the story of the match, because let's be honest, you can have all the best amateur moves, but you gotta make it be a story. Forbes was here. Hurst was here. Even though Hurst was here in actual wrestling moves, Forbes was trying to sell the story more than trying to do the match. Now, Chuck or Charles, I believe I got a shot of him, he's in my face, he tripped up Hurst at least once, and in the end, Forbes wins. But the thing that's still the story, Miro still has him as his butler. And he forced him to tell... How could they honestly at commentary believe that because Charles was forced to say, you're not my best friend anymore, he's my best friend, and Miro, that their friendship is over? One of them should have said, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. You guys actually buy this? You know he's being forced into it, right? I didn't hear anyone of them say that. I could be wrong, and maybe one of them did. But I think it should have been sound. They should have said that, hey, he's saying this because he's forced into it. You guys let me know how you feel about it. Finally. The triple threat. Inner Circle. Triple threat. This was an interesting match for me. You don't normally see a faction go up against each other like this and not hate each other afterward. This is what it came down to. Now, you did have MJF trying to get everyone together and say, look, I'm not interested in this. I didn't want this. But, hey, he's our leader. He's trying to do something special. Let's go for it. And you see Sammy still pissed off, not happy with the situation. But he goes through with the match. And was the match good? The match did what it needed to do. The match created dissension in, I believe, in a circle. I could be wrong. Maybe there's no dissension. I do still believe that Sammy Guevara is going to go off on his own. I still do believe that soon Chris is going to go off and tour with Fonzie. And it's going to be left to MJF to run the Inner Circle. I do believe this. I do believe it's coming. Now, MJF did roll up Sammy. I believe it was Sammy. And now it is MJF and Y2J who's going to go forward as the top tag team of the Inner Circle. But I still do believe Sammy is not going to agree with this, and sooner or later he will break away. Now, I still think, and this is what I said last year when the story was starting between Matt and the Sammy Guevara, that Sammy Guevara is going to turn to Matt Hardy. Because look what's going on with Money Matt. He's now controlling and making sure that Private Party is doing what they're supposed to do and becoming great. I do believe Sammy Guevara is going to go to Matt Hardy. He's going to start working with him next. That's just me. I want to know your thoughts. How do you feel about this show? Was it good? I do believe it was a good show. It was very heavy with a lot of stuff, but it wasn't bad. But I got to say this about when it came to Top Flight. They were bad. I'm sorry. There was more than a few moves they messed up on. Even Matt Sydal botched a bit. But Top Flight did not look that good. They messed up. Peace.